That's it. It's Monday, the 4th of March. What a day so far. What a day, ladies and gentlemen. May I just say, my dog, hell of a show. By the way, I'm Russ Kane. This is the Midday Show. My dog, my lovely, beloved Ebony, is 15 now, just about 15. Right? And she has decided that she is now incontinent. My hands have never been so clean. Everywhere I go is laid with puppy pads, up to here in mucking bullets. Arthur Haynes, cutting edge reference there, boy. It's driving me insane. And I don't know what the hell to do. I don't know what to do. But it's taking up far too much time. What have we got here? Barry J. Allen. Oh, Flash. Afternoon on. Hi, Barry. Welcome. Now, before we get on to our guest. You know him, you love him, and he's in a special studio because he's about to interview Nicole Kidman for another show coming up. Oh, look, there she is. Kimmy Lashma. Kimmy, you must be watching on Espresso Bar, I'm guessing. You know him. Well, he looks very smart. He's either been in court or he's on his way to a funeral. I don't know which it is. It's Neil Long, ladies and gentlemen.
Neither. I actually drove down to the park to do some exercise this morning, and my car broke down. So the RAC might arrive at any minute to get me started.
I thought I was having a bit of a...
I'd still rather be having my day than yours, to be fair.
I am so sorry, fella. That's just hopeless. I was about to say, take the piss and go, but why are you wearing a beautiful suit or overcoat to go exercising in the park? And there you are.
So I might have to come out the show for a bit if you don't mind.
Of course you will. Don't be daft. Of course you will. Here's a hilarious joker. Pushing a car is great exercise. I don't know who you are, but Neil's going to punch you.
Yeah, that Graham Pack.
There's probably Pack. Good day, says Facebook user. And your mate, horologist to the stars, Robert Van Buren.
Hello, Robert Van Buren.
Why are you deciding to exercise? What's going on? What's going on?
I've just decided to.
And he's gone now. I don't know what's happened. Now he's disappeared completely. You had a day when you can't... Oh, he's back. Oh, thank Christ for that. No, it's Kimmy. Oh, Kimmy, you're very brave. Kimmy, you're very brave taking the mick out of... Neil will not be in a good mood. He's got to wait for the RAC. He's not even a member.
I'll tell you what, Kimmy, as soon as I get my car fixed, I'm going to come around there and throw mud at your windows.
You had it first, exclusively, on the midday. Now, our special guest, you're going to love this. You're going to love this. I'm so tickled to have it. One of my oldest friends, I mean, she's just sodding old, basically, is Hilary O'Neill. Anyone who knows me knows that Hill and I have been very close for many, many years. And Hill's, to the merciful relief of everybody around the world, has stopped performing herself. I've got to tell you, there was a universal sigh of, oh, thank God. But she has taken up being a manager in your local Nando's. No, okay. She's a manager of several acts. And one of the acts, she kept driving me back, well, come and see him, come and see him. So I went along to the Crazy Cocks to go and see him. Blew my mind, right? Wait a minute. Look, Julie Voice, formerly of Houston, Texas, now of Guilford. Don't start with Neil. Don't start with Neil.
I can't see the comments. You're lucky.
Oh, you can't see them? Oh, Graham, shut up. Anyway, so I went to see this guy. He's called Matt Daniel Baker. Mind reader. And I thought, it's going to be pants, but I'll do it for Hillary. I was blown away. I thought it was just fantastic. So I went to see him again. I've seen his act twice. He's just great. No, I don't know how he does it. Yes, I know it's a trick.
Is he going to do some on the show today? I love stuff like that.
I'm praying he does. Who the hell knows what maybe he's just Hilary O'Neill, the early years.
By the way, can I ask something? This lady, she doesn't represent up-and-coming stand-up comedians, does she?
She might do. I'll speak to her. I'll give her your number. You can sort it out direct. Of course you can. She's like one of my absolute best friends, which is why I insult her endlessly. Matt Daniel Baker is in the house.
Welcome. What an image. What's going on?
Well,
Car broken down.
yeah, poo everywhere, poo and wee
Poo
all over the
everywhere.
place. It's
all
great.
hit the
And
fan
that's
for
just
you.
in my car.
And that's just Neil. Never mind my dog.
Yeah.
And I've
Now
got in
then.
trouble with the parky.
Are you in trouble?
Well,
What's the
because I'm in a yellow box. You can't park there, mate. You know,
And-
parkies are a lot scarier. He had 666 tattooed on his neck.
You can't see this comment, so I'm going to put this comment up just to annoy you.
Actually, yes, I can. Yeah, you think you're funny, whoever you are.
Now, Matt, no, he's not. Oh God, you're informed today. Did Matt know Longie's car would break down? No, of course we couldn't. Let's find out. Matt,
I'm intrigued. I love this sort of stuff.
You've got to see this guy. When this guy's next performing, Longie, you've got to go.
I'd love to.
Honestly, it's
Come and see me.
fantastic.
Come and see me.
I would love
get
to,
the train,
Matt.
though.
It's really good. Yeah, get the train. Right, Matt, tell us about yourself, what you do, what your act is, how you started. I want to know everything.
Right. Blimey. How long have you got? Okay.
I got as long as I want.
Superb. Okay. So I'm a mind reader. That is the correct term for that is a mentalist in magic.
Yes.
But as I always say, the word mentalist works in every country around the world. They know what it is, apart from the UK. You tell someone you're a mentalist, and
they
that's
just think you support George Galloway. Okay, I get it.
all of those kind of things. So I can't use the term, so I use the term mind reader. Now that does sometimes put people off because they presume it's some sort of psychic, clairvoyant, mystical thing. But it's not. It's basically mind magic tricks using people's minds and perception, influencing, subliminal influencing, persuasion, some magic techniques, all kind of stuff. Psychology, humor I use is always good to disarm people. So that in a nutshell, I wander around corporate events mostly as an after dinner act. I also do close-up stuff around tables, reading people's minds.
The thing is, I'm just going to go there and ask the things they wouldn't ask you on telly.
Yeah.
There's no plants in the audience, are there? There's no plants. They are just punters like me.
Yep.
Or my mate.
So the act that I've sort of developed over the years, for me, it only really works if I interact with a fresh audience. If I don't know what's coming up, that's when you get the sort of the best stuff coming out, because it keeps me alive. It's a bit like like being a comedian. It's some people do their act straight and just want people to listen. Some people will do some audience work where they'll ask the audience certain questions or let them interact a little bit. And when that happens, you always get a fresh performance from the performer. And I think it's really, really important, particularly with what I do, because people quite rightly wonder if some of it's set up or if there's a plant, or if I've spoken to people before the show, or, never. It's just pure, it's all live. I don't know what's going to come out of them. I don't know what they're going to say or do. And then the joy and the fun of it for me is trying to steer it into the directions that I need it to go in. And that's kind of where I cross over into my job side of it, if you like.
And see, the last time I saw you, there was a woman just randomly in the audience, and she was French. And whatever
Sylvia.
You think about Sylvia.
I've got a story about Sylvia.
Well, we're going to hear it. But Neil, I got to tell you, whatever you think about the French being difficult, oh my God, this woman was the ambassador of difficulty from France, sitting in the audience. I was just sitting in the back, enjoying the show, and I thought, okay, mate, deal with this, because I was crying with laughter. She was impossible.
So what happened? What happened?
Oh, it was just hilarious.
Well, there's always when you encourage people to sort of speak out or to get involved, that you sometimes run the risk that they are a little bit overly eager to get involved. And there's a few techniques to kind of politely let them know that, okay, that's enough, you know. And I'm comically rude to people if they start talking. You know, I'll say something like, okay, it's a non-speaking part, just listen to me, enjoy the show, or I'll say, okay, that's enough from you. But everything that I said, she seemed to keep going. It just, because she felt bad that she was ruining it, so she'd say more to try and get out, and it was relentless. But the beauty of it was that I was able to sort of use her throughout the show as a callback, and I'd keep, you know, if someone else was a bit of a problem, and I thought Sylvia was bad, you're even worse, you know, that sort of thing. And all I asked her to do, it literally was in 2 minutes of the show starting. All I asked her to do was choose a number on the dice and cover it on a little dice there, and not let anyone see what the number was. And I was going to tell her what the number was. And I don't know what went on.
Just French. What do you say?
It was an absolute fiasco, but it was very funny. But Russ, I can tell you, not two shows ago, so about 2 months ago, I was doing a show at the Crazy Cox, and there was a guy in the audience, and really lovely guy. And I said, well, you know, where have you come from? And it turned out he lived in Marble Arch, and he walked to the show. And I asked him to do some things, and he sort of wouldn't move. He wasn't reluctant, but he was being a bit lazy. You know, I'd ask him to go and choose someone else, and he just pointed to the person next to him. You know, it was one of those. He didn't really want to engage, and I was thinking, like, come on with this guy. I was trying to get some more out of him, and I couldn't. So I started attacking him, but, you know, comically used him as a bit of a foil.
Brave.
And you know, it was funny, and he laughed, and eventually he complied, and all the rest of it. And then at the end, I always meet the audience in the foyer, as you know. And the guy came up and he said, "Oh, it's a fantastic show. I really enjoyed it." And I was sort of like, "Oh, you didn't want to move, but I'm glad you enjoyed it." And I always ask people, "What made you come along?" He said, "Oh, I came with my wife," and she sort of appeared behind him and stepped out, and she said, "Do you remember me? I'm Sylvia."
No.
Yeah. She'd brought her equally distressing husband along because she enjoyed the show so much, and it turned out he was every bit as odd as her.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it was amazing. And I said to her, I said, "You're famous." I said, "There's someone on Facebook, we talk about you, we reference you all the time as do you remember that night Sylvia was in?" I've actually got it on video as well, her coming back with her husband.
Bloody hilarious.
It was extraordinary.
Now, we've got questions coming in, which on our screens. So this is a good question. You said at the top of the show that you do corporates.
Yep.
I've done corporates. I'm not sure. Neil must have done. You probably hosted. Longie, have you hosted?
Not relatively many, but I have done in my time, yeah.
So here's a good question from Grand Pack, and I'll read it out. Are hen and stag do's the worst kind of audience to have? Good question.
Ordinarily, I totally understand where you're coming from, but because of the way that I do my show, I have to be in control very, very quickly. So it doesn't matter what kind of audience I've got. I excuse the outrageous pun, but I get on top of them as quickly as I can, otherwise it gets out of control.
Yeah.
If you let everyone start heckling or throwing ideas or shouting out, it becomes impossible.
It could be quite the same at comedy clubs.
Yeah.
I recently went on an MCing course, and there's a really nice, there's ways of, you've used the phrase already, comedically attacking, just getting someone to shut up, basically, when you don't want them, because some people think that they actually are part of the show, and they just get really chatty, and they just chat back to you like we're chatting now. They don't see that it's a one-way thing, and they come in with your permission and no more, kind of thing, unless they're Sylvie, of course.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's a nice thing to be able to manage, having audience management and audience control. And to establish it quite early on, because people do enjoy it a lot more because they know what the rules are. There's nothing worse than a heckler that's going on too much. And
I hate it.
Struggling a little bit.
Bear it.
You know, you want them to you want them to get in control of it fast.
Do you deal with hecklers in the same way as comedians do? In one set, first of all, it'd be a gentle put down, and then it kind of escalates the more it gets. And there was one recently, chap called Harry, who's an Indian chap, and that is relevant. And there was and the guy was just so drunk. He was just drunk and just saying anything at any time, just loudly, like that. And the line he came up with, he said, "Mate, I'm brown and I've got a better understanding of English than you have." And the place just erupted. And then he threw it.
Well, there you go.
Which is it was a brilliant line. I've never forgot that night. But
Yeah.
how do you deal with them? Do you have sort of escalating levels of severity?
Gun.
Yeah, I do. And only once or twice has someone been just out of control, and it just becomes annoying for everyone, and the room goes cold and everything's just a bit horrible. But very rarely does that happen. And again, I think it's mostly down to the performer, because one thing as comedic performers, and I'm sure you'll all agree, it's like a moth to a flame. The more problematic someone is, you can't just leave it and carry on. You feel like you need to go back and keep annihilating them.
You do.
Even though it makes them worse. It's a weird psychological thing that happens, and it's best if you can to try and steer it onto someone else and move on quickly, because it becomes a personal battle, which you shouldn't have, because the audience
can become very tempting if it becomes.
And it just,
I've seen some comedians do it. It's just like this back and forth, and the rest of the audience might as well not be there.
It doesn't work at all. It doesn't work.
But the good thing is, I mean, fortunately for me, I mean, I'm not a comedian. The comedy in my show is banter with the audience, but because I've got my act, let's call them the tricks, because I've got the tricks, people want to see that. Whereas a regular comedian, you've just got your words, and you've got to get out of it or move it along however you can. But it's a lot easier for me, because I can just go, okay, I'll tell you what we do. I've got an envelope here. I want all of you to think of something right now, and bang, I'm out of the situation. I'm out of the problem.
Yeah. How did you become interested in this in the first place? And how long does it take to study before you get a show that you can take out to the public?
So I've been doing magic for about 30 years. And I was a close-up worker, so I'd do weddings, corporate events, birthday parties, going around with a pack of cards. And as good as it was, and as much as I enjoyed it, I always felt like I was sort of performing at people. There was a little bit like I was saying earlier on, you need the buzz of it being live. And so I was very interested in mentalism and mind reading, but it works in a very different way to magic. You don't really have a ta-da moment. If you make an egg appear in your hand, you've got a very direct moment of a reaction. Whereas when you're reading someone's mind, if you tell them what they're thinking, it doesn't elicit a reaction. It's more of an internal dialogue.
Yes.
How the hell? What? You don't get that reaction. So for a long while, it feels like it's not working. It feels like you're not getting. So then I kind of figured out you need to kind of lay some breadcrumbs a little bit for people to react along the way. And if you can make them laugh, and if you can make it a little bit more personal, rather than just think of a word, I will say to someone, okay, think of someone you went to school with when you were about 10 years old, a friend in your classroom, or someone that you didn't like in your classroom, but let those people start coming back. Now, all of a sudden, they're invested, and you can play around with that and get them where you want them to be. And over the years and years of doing that, to thousands of people close up on stage, at tables, you start to learn what makes people tick, what makes them react, what makes them interested. And it's hardly ever like a boring list of things. It's always something to do with them, something to do with their life, because there's so much more invested in it, and they can hear it and smell it and see it and taste it, whatever it is. It's to do with their life.
Much more real to them, and it makes it very personal.
Yeah, and once you've got that hook, that's when you can start playing around with them, because I always call it a safety net. So if you've got, let's just say years ago when I was practicing all this stuff, I was doing a card trick. I would try and read someone's mind while I was doing the card trick, because if I failed, I still had the end of the trick, so I was going to win with the trick. So
walk me through that again. No, I'm not getting that. Walk me through that again.
Walk you through that again. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I began to explore mentalism and how to make it work,
yeah,
I would perform a card trick, a regular card trick. I'd have a pack of cards. I'd say name a card to someone, and I'd get them to write something down on the card. Okay. So I would try and figure out what they'd written or figure out what they were thinking. If I couldn't do it, I still had the card trick to fall back on, so they were never disappointed.
Okay.
I would finish with a strong trick, and they'd go, "Oh my god," you know. And all I would say is, "Okay, you're thinking of someone. Okay, what was their name? It doesn't. You can tell me. It doesn't matter what the name is. Stephen. Okay, so imagine your friend Stephen. Imagine he's here now and he's going to take a card. So I made the name not important. If I couldn't get it, like it didn't matter. It was just a thing that you've got to latch onto in your mind. If I got the name, then I would obviously use that, and they'd be shocked and they'd get the trick. So I'd get a double whammy. So that was so I always had a safety net to practice with. And I teach a lot of magicians. I give a lot of magicians guidance within mentalism, because it's not an easy thing to get reactions from at all. Darren Brown's a master at it, like absolutely.
Oh yeah,
you know, he's phenomenal.
Do you teach it? Do you do classes in mentalism? Is that what you said?
I do, yeah. For mainly, well, see, with magic, it's a funny thing, because you can get booted out of the magic circle for divulging secrets, but if you pay me, you become a student, and it's all right. So
isn't that weird? That is weird. So I won't mention their name, but it's somebody that Hillary and I know well, worked with for years, a magician, close-up. Right. And there was a whole hoo-ha in the magic circle. It was always my dream. I love that. I don't like, and I was thinking, wow, this is a storm in a teacup, and it rumbled. I think you probably know who it is. I won't say. I am not crazy about the David Copperfield stuff. You know, I'm going to make the Empire State Building disappear. Okay, I'm going to make an elephant disappear, because you know, it's cameras and it's clever and it's slick and it's brilliant showbiz. I don't really like it. But when someone's at a table next to me and they're doing stuff, I'm like, whoa, I can't get over that. Close-up magic it's amazing. It's so intimate, and it's
just as an aside, Russ, do you remember Paul Fear at Capitol?
Of course I do.
He was quite a close-up magician.
I didn't know that. Yeah. I ran into Paul a few months back. I haven't seen him in ages.
He's very good at it. I've got to ask you, and feel free to say no, but is there any chance of you giving us a little demo now? Because I'm intrigued.
A little demo. Okay.
I hadn't asked. By the way, I had not asked Matt, because I thought if he's going to do it, he'd do it, but I don't want to put the guy on the spot.
Feel free to say no. No.
This is a little something that's part of a bigger thing in my show that I do. And Rush, you would have seen this, and it's just going to be fast. Neil, what I want you to do, imagine you've got a little dice in your hand, just an invisible dice. Just hold on to it now for me. Okay, perfect. Hold it in a moment, not yet, but in a moment you're going to give it a shake and then roll it into your other hand, but not yet. And then in your mind's eye, you're going to see which number that dice has landed on in your hand, okay? But not yet. Because I've made a prediction of a number that you're about to roll.
Shut up!
Okay. So, Neil, if you would, give that dice a little shake.
Yep.
Okay, you might want to shake it a bit higher. You're starting to panic those people. You're about to get arrested.
Oh, God.
In the park, in a car.
Please don't snip that bit. Please.
Oh, you are so that's going everywhere.
Oh, there's a mother with 4 children walking past. Sorry.
There was.
Doing a magic trick. Honest.
Of course you are. Now you see it. Now you don't.
And
Anyway,
he's doing it again. Look, it's even worse. Right. Okay. Now, in your mind's eye, have a look at which number you rolled. Now, you can say this out loud. Which number did you roll there, Neil?
5.
5. You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone always does it on the first.
Oh, what?
Good God.
It's a simple thing, but well done. Now you might want to run because the police are on their way for you.
Officer, I'm just doing a magic trick.
It was magic, I promise. It's
I'm live
magic.
on the radio.
Here's a question for you.
That's very good, Matt.
Where does the question go? Right. I think I know the answer. We'll answer. That's great. I love that. As a mentalist, are you trained to work with clients and patients? Are you a hypnotherapist by trade?
I'm not, no. And again, it's what I was alluding to earlier on when people think that it's part of clairvoyance or psychic or even hypnotherapy. They're in the same kind of, I suppose if you had a bookshelf with this stuff, they'd all be on the same part of the shelf. And there are many, many links. Now, I do know a lot about it. And what I can say that I do, I've dipped into all of those topics: psychology, influence, persuasion, hypnotherapy, all of it, and I've taken the bits that interest me, and I've weaved them into routines that I do. So they're kind of, I always think that what would people do with this stuff if they could do it? What do people really want to know? One of the big things is people want to know if someone's lying to them or not. And it was always a big topic for me as to how I could present that in a show. You know, what one routine would demonstrate lying quite well. And so I learned all about lying and the psychology behind it and the body language techniques. I actually did a part of an FBI course during lockdown. Strangely,
Wow.
I did it online to become a certified human lie detector. And this is after years of doing.
Seriously?
Yeah. I've got the certificate and everything, but I failed it the first time, which infuriated me because I do it for a living. But even for me, there was so many things that I didn't pick up on, that I didn't realise that I now do, and it's a fascinating, absolutely fascinating topic. And now I can't watch, well, not that I watch the news much anyway, but I can't watch it without just seeing straight through everyone on it that's talking, you know, the politicians.
Is it that obvious to you? I remember that brilliant show. Who was it? Tim Roth? Was it Lie to Me?
Yeah, Tim Roth.
Yeah, Lie to Me. Yeah, and
that was a fantastic show. And literally, he had this superpower where he could just tell when people were lying and people were telling the truth.
Well, that show, Lie to Me, was based on the work of a real guy called Paul Ekman, who deals with a thing called micro expressions, and they're really, really tiny. You see, like when you talk about body language and people lying, there's the classics. You know, they'll scratch their nose,
but it has to be in clusters, because it has to be my limited understanding. It has to be in so-called clusters, doesn't it? If I scratch my nose, it doesn't mean I'm lying necessarily. It could mean I've got an itchy nose.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I do that and some others at the same time.
Well, the crux of it is that you establish a baseline of someone. You see how they are. With just relaxed, gentle conversation, you see how they are, and then you throw in a couple of curveballs and you see what they do in that moment. You completely switch. You ask them innocuous questions, just vague things, and then you throw a real heavy question in at them, almost accusing them. Wow. And then you'll see them react. And so once you've seen that reaction, it doesn't mean that they've lied at that point. It means that's what they do when they're unsettled. So you go back to relaxing them and just chit-chatting with people and just, you know, and then you throw another one in and then you see he's gone again. I made him vanish.
No, probably the RAC have turned up.
He's been arrested.
He's been arrested.
He's on CCTV.
He's so screwed. He's so screwed. Matt, let me
ask you this.
Do you you mentioned the word corporate, and another thought is, do corporates ever bring you in and just to sit in on a meeting, for example, and see if they were thinking of doing a deal or working with a new supplier or whatever it might be, and to be able to gauge the people at the meeting?
Yes. Well, I get asked to, but I'm very careful about it because I do this for entertainment, and because it's my job.
Yeah.
First and foremost, to be an entertainer. Again, it's a topic that I have studied and I've dipped into, and I do know a lot about. But one thing that I've figured out about me over the years is the skills that I've got. I don't think I could live with myself if I cause someone to lose their job or not get a job or influence the outcome of their life. I'm much more suited to going out and showing off and getting a round of applause and being funny, making people laugh. That I've had to be honest with myself over the years. I could have had a very successful career with the skills that I've got if I've gone down a different road with it. But I think what I'm doing, to me, is successful because it's, to make people gasp, like the jaw drop and laugh from one moment to the next. I mean, that's just heaven for me.
I totally hear what you're saying. You're being a little bit self-depreciatory, I have to say, because having seen the act at least twice, and it's different when I've seen it both times. Yes, it's very amusing and it's very light, which is great. I mean, someone like David Copperfield is not light. It's all da-da, it's all very dramatic, and blah, blah, blah. But yours is very light in its approach.
Yep.
But the content, for me, and all the people who were sitting around me, was, to use your phrase, jaw-dropping. It's like, how the bloody hell? What did you, what? And everyone's like, and you're used to it, and you know how it's done, and we're sitting there, and our minds are going in several directions. One is, well, we know it's a trick, otherwise he's from another planet, but how's it done? And then the kids in us are going, that is fantastic, because we've been dazzled. And it's, it's really...
I think, again, my approach to it is I try to be as normal as possible. I try to be, as much as it's a performance. He's back. They let you off.
Sorry about that. Do you know how my iPhone overheated? I'm going to have one of those days today.
Wow.
I had to hold it in the breeze.
iPhone overheated?
Yeah, you get if it goes too hot, it says temperature. You have to cool it down. So I held it out the window in the breeze.
If you hold it and shake it and blow on it at the same time, it cools it down really, really quickly.
Yeah,
but I've already done movements like that and I nearly got arrested.
He almost went then, Russ. Did you see that? He almost.
There was a second. I was trying to keep a straight face, and I thought, oh,
yeah. Nice try, Daniel Baker. So today is actually Lighter Me Day. Interestingly, so you were saying, I'm so sorry I missed that, and I'm so fascinated. So that was based
if you watch it back later on, you'll hear
watch the show. I mean, you're marvelous in it. You should watch it. A Parkman 2, the musical.
You got to. Yeah.
So what was I going to say? Well, when I watch the police interviews, I watch some true crime sometimes.
Yeah.
And is there anything in this? If people are if they're being accused of a crime and they haven't done it, their answers will tend to be truthful answers will tend to be short. Yeah. So were you there at that time? No. Yes. No. If they're lying, they're going to a massive story. Well, first of all, I was this, then I was that, then I did that, and then because of that, and they go into this massive spiel. It's almost like they're trying to cover up deception with lots of words.
Well, it's not that they're covering it up; it's they're trying to convince you. So there's another facet of that which you just picked up on is the yes/no question. And it's simple. If let's say something's been stolen, and I say, Russ, did you steal that box?
Aston Martin.
Did you steal that Aston? Yeah. You would just say no. But quite often, what liars will do is they will say no, and it will sound like they've said no, and they'll convince you that they said no, but they won't have said no. A classic thing is they'll go, did I steal the Aston Martin? How can you even ask me that? I've known you 26 years, and you're asking me out of everyone if I nicked it. You now go, sorry, you feel bad.
Oh,
They never said no. So
Is there something that
that's so
that's
good.
that's
man.
good with kids. Do it with your kids, everyone.
when I learned NLP, we were taught about incongruency. So ask me the question: did I steal the box?
Neil, did you steal that box?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so that's actually a tricky one. That's a tricky one. It's the incongruent gesture of your body does the opposite. So when you say no, you nod, and people quite often go, "That was absolutely incredible," and they're just shaking their head. Now that's where it becomes tricky, because the shaking of the head is also a representation of disbelief of how
Yes,
good.
I would do that.
Cannot
Well,
believe
I thought it was a sense of wonder.
I would do
Well,
that.
that's
A
it, and
sense
that's
of
where
wonder.
you've got to be careful with that particular gesture. It's one of the ones that it's safer the other way round, when they say no but they nod. And I can lob a few names. I'm not saying what situations, but Prince Andrew's very good at that. As was Bill Clinton, is the case study.
Oh, I mean, what the hell?
This is interesting, actually.
And what's amazing,
I read a book recently by two brilliant Australian psychologists, Alan and Barbara Pease. They've done a load of work in.
Yeah, Alan Pease is amazing. Very funny guy. Oh.
Very funny. Both him and his wife. They're brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And they were talking about Bill Clinton, and what they did, they watched the tape back. You were talking about microtells, and when he says, "I did not have sexual relations with that woman," but just before he said it, and they froze the tape, there's a slight downturn of the mouth, as it just before he says it. He's trying to keep a poker face, but there's this tiny tell, literally one frame, and they froze it on that frame, and you can see that. You can see it with people that you freeze it one frame before. And that's the tell, if you're quick enough to pick up on it without a camera winding it.
What I find amazing is how, but then I guess the general public don't know these things, and even if they did, who are you going to complain to? You know, no one. But it always amazes me how these top flight people are allowed to stand in front of a camera and be interviewed and lie like that without being heavily coached first, and they are to a certain extent, but the flaws in it are just extraordinary, you know.
Are they? You know, here's the thing: Clinton, absolute professional liar in what he did then. You know, I didn't inhale when he was asked about drugs at university or whatever it was, in college, as they say, and I didn't. He's gone again. And then it's like about Monica Lewinsky, poor kid, and you know, he lied, absolutely barefaced lied about it. Are they psychopaths?
Yeah.
Or sociopaths, rather. I mean, they don't have a moral compass. That's the point.
No, they're absolute psychopaths, and this is a different story, but going down a different path, I should say. But
not really.
I always think anyone that's in that level of authority, or that level of being in charge of people, whether it's right at the very top or somewhere a bit below. Regular people don't have the capacity to be ruthless and trample on people to get to the top. Regular people don't. That's why regular people are not hugely successful business people. That's why we all go, if I had a company worth 10 million, I'd sell it and go and relax on it. They can't. That's not how they're built. They're built to control from the mind first. And that's why every single one of them, without fail, doesn't matter how sweet and light they are, show me one person that's at the top of the tree that isn't a psychopath.
No, there is something. It's very interesting, because we talk a lot about mental health and well-being. I'm not majoring on it anymore, but I will always embrace it as part of the show. And you've used the word success. What you do, you know that that's a success, and you're content with that, and I think that's great. And a lot of people will look at, let's not name names, but they'll look at what is deemed, in parentheses, successful people. Why aren't I like that? Why don't I have a yacht? No, I haven't got a Maserati parked. No, because you'll never be that person. It doesn't mean that you're not smart. It doesn't mean that you're not clever, but you're not willing to trample and be brutal and
Yeah.
have absolutely no moral compass whatsoever apart from making yourself successful in that way.
Yeah, I totally agree. 1,000% agree. And the answer to that really is, when you look at that, it's the hangers-on that probably enjoy it more than the person.
Oh, puke.
And
Well,
bought,
you're in entertainment. You're in entertainment. You know, Hills. Hills and I go back forever.
Hmm.
You know, I'm on the outskirts. I'm in and out of entertainment a little bit, right? It's not my main thing. But some of the people you meet are lovely,
Yeah.
are just delightful. And some, when they come off stage or the cameras stop, are monsters. I don't mean they're a little bit unpleasant. I mean they are total, utter monsters. Neil and I have worked with some of these guys. You must have worked
Can I
with some.
just say my RAC
Think of
hat?
the devil.
was
Wow.
on-
Hang on.
It's almost.
Speaking of monsters, go on.
So I better go and sort this out. Matt, it's been lovely to meet you. Do you do
too.
gigs on the comedy circuit? Because I've got contacts that I think would be really interested in an act like yours.
I do a lot of comedy nights. I usually, well, I can do either part, start, middle, end. But yeah, come and see
Great.
the
Can I
show.
get? Where can I
I
find
will
you?
give you his. I will give you his agent's details.
Yes,
And that's
Speak
the
to
way we'll
Hillary.
do it. We'll do it properly through Hillary.
Of
who
course,
looks after
of course. Matt, lovely to meet you. I'll see you Wednesday, folks. We got an hour with Joe Happiness Howarth, who's going to be
Oh, I
talking
love
about.
her. She's great.
She's going to be
Good.
talking about extreme self-love, and it's going to be brilliant. Matt,
Wow.
great to meet you, my friend.
Get your car fixed. God bless. Bye.
Extreme self-love. Right, good luck.
Joe Howarth is fantastic. Joe Howarth. I'm just going to trail the show for Neil on Wednesday because he wanted to do. He's doing it solo and doing any other guests. Joe Howard is tremendous. It's about stop pleasing other people. Put yourself first occasionally, not like being a selfish twat, but stop trying to. She wrote a book about people pleasing. It's really good stuff. That's Wednesday, 12 o'clock. So we've all met, you and I, Matt.
Yeah.
And it's always the ones you think, oh, they look so nice on telly. Aren't they nice? And then you go to meet them and you think, you're just vile. Now I know why you're always on TV, because you would do anything. I mean, you just trample on anyone to get that gig. And not everyone wants to do that. People can't live with themselves. They have no problem living with themselves like that at all.
Now, it probably links to your upcoming guest about pleasing other people, but with that, you can't really complain or moan about it, or it's just all it is just disappointment when you experience it yourself. When you meet that person, you're the one that's being let down, not them. They don't care. So it's how you kind of sorry, there's a massive message just come up on the screen.
Oh, yes, it is. It's you carry on, because everyone can read the messages. It's it's all the people around the world. A lot of people in America watch this show. So there we are. Yeah.
So I was people that trample on people. So it's only ever, and I find it weird in entertainment because there's two sides to it. Now, if you met a politician in real life and they were a bit horrible, you'd kind of go, I suppose that's why they're a politician. Or if it was a business person that was successful, you go, okay, that's why. But when it's entertainment and you've invested in someone making you laugh or making you cry or listening to them sing or listen, and then they turn, that's almost feels like the worst, because you've invested your enjoyment of them. You've allowed them into your spirit and your soul and your energy and your vibe, and then they betray it. And I think that's when it becomes really dangerous for people. And
also,
not everyone.
No. But also there's a feeling of, I'm an idiot. How stupid am I to have ever liked
it? Can only that's it. It can only hurt you. It will never hurt them. They don't care.
Well, no, they couldn't care less. They're perfectly happy. They sleep with a baby.
You kind of wonder why they're like how can you be like that? How can you be so funny and yet be so horrible? How can you be so talented yet be so horrible? But it doesn't exist in their mind like that. You're trying to project how you would be if you were like them, and that's what upsets you, because you imagine how you. But they're not. They don't. They would presume you to be stupid for having those feelings. But in terms of just going back a few steps there, in terms of the word success with that, I honestly believe success really is just doing something that you enjoy and doing something that you love. Because if you won the lottery, forget holidays and cars and houses and all the rest of it, what would you spend your time doing?
What I'm doing now. What I'm doing now.
9 times out of 10, you'll be doing the thing that actually doesn't cost money. And it doesn't need you to be a millionaire. It's why I always found, when I was younger, I found retirement an odd concept, because it was like,
never got it.
Work till you're no longer able to run around and be silly. But because at that point you'll have everything you need to suddenly go and do all the things you like doing. When I'm retired, I'll do this, that, and
you're too old. You're exhausted.
You're at the end of what's that?
I think the difference is, Matt, you and I love what we do. I love my writing. I love being a celebrant, and I love doing broadcasting.
Yeah.
You love what your routine. You love your entertaining. If you're working, I'll pick a random example. You're working in a mine, or you've been working in the same rivet factory for 40, 50 years. The thought of, thank God, I don't have to get up on a Monday morning, go to this bloody awful job. I get that. But the notion is you're trying to marry two different things. One is, when I stop doing all the things that I have to do, I'll have time to do the things I want to do. You won't.
Yeah.
You won't. You won't be in the best. You won't be in the best. You can do some of it. The fact is, you won't be as young as you were when you started thinking about this. You won't be in the same health.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. It's nature.
There's also another part of that which I experience a lot because of when I do teach, whether it's magic or performance or body language stuff or whatever it is, that the other problem with getting older and the way that people perceive hobbies is, unfortunately, you've got the experience of knowing how long a hobby takes for you to be good at it. So you start to judge it on. There's no point in me trying to learn a guitar now. I'm 52. How am I going to get I'm never going to be good. And so you stop. What you're missing is the journey. What you're missing is the enjoyment. What you're missing is finding the next little step towards and do it so you don't notice it. But we put a time frame on stuff like everything's going to be too late, or I'm not as young as I was, or I'm not. And all I ever say to people with stuff like that is just do a few of the little things that you either used to do or that you want to do. Just do them a little bit. Just put something out there that's for you, that you can know next Tuesday you're going to go and do that for an hour. Just do it. The joy that will bring. If you happen to be in a job that you don't particularly like, or if you're waiting for a better day, just that will only come by doing the things that you like, because they're the things that speak to you. They're the things that resonate with you. You can't do something you don't enjoy. You're never going to go and do a hobby you don't enjoy.
Yeah, horrible.
You're only going to go and do something that you do enjoy, and that's when you get woken up. You're plugging yourself into your own electricity, whatever it is. Yeah. If you like singing, go and have singing lessons, or join an amateur. Oh no, I can't do it. That's for young people, or I haven't got time, or haven't. You're just going around in circles. Just little bits of the things that you love, or that you would like to enjoy. Just do tiny little bits of them. You'll be amazed how quickly it becomes a thing in your life.
But you know what, Matt, you can always, when you're thinking about this and you're umming and ahhing, and I'm too old, or I'll never be any good at it, or they'll laugh at me. What's the worst that's going to happen? Exactly. What's the worst thing? You think, I'd love to learn to play the piano, but I'm 60-something. But what? You're not going to be sitting in the Royal Albert Hall with 15,000 people watching you screw up.
I'll tell you. I can tell you what that is. Right? What's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is exactly what is happening, that you're not doing it. The reason that one of the reasons people don't go this far into the psychology of why they don't do that hobby, but a big reason for it and it sounds nuts, but if you think about it, it's true. You don't want to be disappointed by it not working out. As long as it stays a dream or a one day,
Yes.
it's safe.
Yep.
It's safe for you there. But if you actually try it and you're no good at it, or it fails, or it doesn't work out, you've just crushed one of your dreams. And that's what happens with people. They fear it. Sounds nuts, but
No, they do fear it. It's much easier. You know, take a simple example. Oh, by the way, before I forget, what's your website? I'm getting a lot of questions. Like, we'd love to see his show. Has he got a website? Well, what's going on?
Yeah, it's my name. So mattdanielbaker.com at the end of that. .com.
I think everyone can remember that. mattdanielbaker.com. Not too tricky. Take something like writing a book, and people, God knows why they ask me, but they do. Oh, I'm thinking of writing a book. What should I do? I say, well, what do you need to do? I go, sit down on your ass and start writing.
Yeah.
And they go, but I said, and then you'll see if you can do it. And then you'll see if it's possible, if it's for you.
Yeah.
But it's no good walking around going, I could have written the greatest book. Go and do it. And you might get in, 3 weeks down the line and go, I hate this process. It's much harder than I thought. Alternatively, you might be sitting there going, I love this. This is so freeing. I'm enjoying the creative process. And that's just an example. It might be golf. I don't know. Which I know
but it's the perfect example, and it does boil down to that. And unfortunately, sort of going back again to the people at the top of the tree and stuff. We're and I don't want this to turn into, but we're conditioned to dream as people, as humans. We're conditioned to have a dream, and it's what the lottery was invented for. The lottery was invented to keep people in their jobs because they've got a hope that one day it could be them. It could be you.
It could be you.
It's that, and that's all people need to carry on doing nothing.
Could be
one day, just
I'm going to win. I'm going to win
one day, and it becomes an excuse for people that this dream is out there for them, and it's not how it works, because I promise you this: the people that own the lottery or the people that own these companies don't dream. They get on with it.
I know in the early days of Camelot, when they won the franchise, when they won that, I was called in to do a lot of their writing in the very early days. Trust me, they weren't dreaming.
Exactly.
It was a very clever business model, and it's done a lot of good. Let's be very clear. It's done
it has, but it has to do a lot of good in order for you to keep believing in it. So again, there's a payoff there that it does do a lot of good, but that's not an excuse for what it is and what it's there for. And it's there to keep us. It's there to keep us dreaming, and that's dangerous.
It keeps you dangling. You see, what is interesting, talking to you, Matt, we started off frivolous and it was kind of silly. Now we've done a deeper dive. And it's this: whatever you want to do it, and I'm sorry, it sounds like I'm preaching, and I apologize. I'm the last person, right? But whatever you want to do, you can't do it half-assed, and it takes work, and it takes effort, and it takes discipline. If you go and sit in Crazy Cox or whatever, and Matt comes onto the stage and everyone's clapping and everything, he hasn't thought about it 10 minutes before, and he thinks, well, maybe it'll be all right. It's work, it's effort. When I did my 90-minute stand-up show, there was months of work went into that,
which was great, by the way.
You're very kind. I wasn't fishing. What I'm thinking, what I'm saying is, there's months of it, and I work and work and work to make. So I thought it could be the best that I could make it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be satisfied. Being satisfied is important. But any of this thing, you want to write a book? Jeez, tell me about it. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
But hobbies don't have to be that.
No. Well, one thing I'd say,
hobbies are hobbies,
Yeah. One thing I'd say about what I do and what you do is there's I've not only do I enjoy it, but I take it seriously, and I feel the responsibility, as I'm sure you do, that
totally.
people have paid money to come and see you.
Totally.
I'm painfully aware of, you know, they've maybe got a babysitter in, or they've gone out for a
travelled there,
work, they've travelled in, or there's a tube strike, so they've had to get a cab to all the and that's just to get there. Getting home, people have all kinds of issues. So I'm really painfully aware of, and I'm appreciative of what individual people have gone through just to come and sit with you for 75 minutes and watch you do what you do, you know. So I care a lot that I'm being as good as I can, or I've made the right kind of thing work, no matter what goes on. It's important, and I don't take any of that lightly, because I know how hard it is to get me out of my house to go and see something. I don't even, you know, I'm right on the doorstep of the Epsom Playhouse. I've probably been there 5 times in 18 years. You know, I know, and one of them was my show. So that's
shall I go? Who's on? Matt Daniel Baker.
Better go. I'm on.
I don't know.
But it's hard, you know. It's hard getting people out, and so anyone that comes along, I can't believe it. You know, it's
and the other thing is,
I work hard and I try hard, and I love chatting to people after.
Wrapped up with that, Matt, is when somebody like Madonna, let's say, or somebody else, I don't know, Axl Rose or something, turns up 2-3 hours late. I'm like, really? What, were you watching TV? You didn't bother to look at you didn't look at your diary that the O2 is full with 20,000 people and you can't be out. What? Well, that's just ego. I mean, that's just horrible.
Well, and also it's a big PR, it's a big rock and roll PR game. They know what they're doing. You know as well as I do the laws on going over time and what happens when you go over and what happens. They don't care. It's part of the circus. So if you turn up late or I turn up late, it's because we got stuck in traffic, or you know, we're parked behind Neil there in the park.
Neil.
So something's happened in our life.
We're protecting families from Neil Long in the park.
Exactly.
Rude gestures.
That's it. Whereas if Madonna's late or Axl Rose is late, you know, they're not stuck in traffic. It's part of the game. But we enjoy the game, don't we? That's what entertainment is. That's what showbiz is. People like having idols and heroes, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. But
Matt, where are you next on? Where can people come and see?
So I'm always at the Crazy Cocks in the West End. I've got a residency there. It's in its 3rd year. I'm there all this year, the rest of the year.
Brilliant. And what day is that? Do those days?
I do one show at the end of every month. It's usually the last week. The days change. But again, if you go on my website, all the dates are there. I'm also just about to, this week actually, on Friday, start a tiny little tour. Now, I give it the word tour only because I've got to go from one to the other over a few days. But it's what I'm sort of doing is I'm just dipping my toe into a couple of venues just to see what the public desire is for a show like mine, because, you know, I haven't got a massive reach for getting people in to come and see shows. It's great in the West End. It's great at, you know, corporate events. That's my job. Yeah. So I'm going to be at the Astor Theatre in Deal in Kent on the 8th, which is this Friday. That's where I start. So it's a proper theatre show with an interval. It's all, you know, different stuff.
Ice cream? Any ice creams?
Ice creams will be there. Okay. Be careful which one you choose. One of them's it's not. they're fine. Saturday I'm at the Cranley Arts Theatre in Surrey, and then on the 23rd I'm in Windsor at the Old Court. 23rd of March, that is. And then I've got this really bizarre one in Stratford upon Avon.
Wow.
On August the 16th, I've got my own. This is nuts. I've got my own circus big top. So I know
you are Zippo.
I am.
You are Billy Smart.
It's all of it. There's a circus that goes in, and for whatever reason, I don't know how it works out, but there's 4 nights during the circus run that they give to Stratford-upon-Avon to put their own show on. And they got in touch with me and asked me if I would do one of those nights. Just me in the circus tent. It's all mine for the night. So
now I
that's
will give
August the
you
16th.
£10, and I'm talking cash.
Yeah.
Cash here. If Henry O'Neill goes on the trapeze, I'm talking cash in your pocket. I won't mention it. I won't declare it. In your back pocket, Henry O'Neill on a trapeze. No safety net.
Well,
Just
okay.
trapeze.
All right. I think she'd do it. I think she'd go for it.
Do you know what? Such a twat. Look at me.
I think she would. I think it's going to happen.
She'd do it. And there to catch her, because you know she'll flip, will be
Yeah.
Bobby Crush.
Right.
I think it's the perfect night of entertainment.
Let's make it happen. That
Bobby
can be.
Crush on one trapeze and Hillary O'Neill on another trapeze.
Well, I'll tell you what that is. That's my Super Bowl halftime entertainment sorted.
That's
what.
the whole thing. The whole
That's what
thing.
it is.
Just we're going to end with this. Blimey, I'm in Deal on Thursday. I'll take a look at your website. Good luck with that, says Facebook user.
Brilliant.
Matt, it's been
Friday,
an absolute Friday, right? It's been an absolute pleasure.
Can I do one quick thing? Can
Do
I?
what you like. Oh yeah, you got something to do. We're in no rush.
I
I'm
know
at your
he threw that in me at me earlier. I'm going to play a little game for some money.
Oh,
now,
okay.
you were
Here we
talking
go,
about
everybody.
£10. We're going to up this to £50, right? If you win, and I promise you, if you do win it, you will genuinely win it. I'll PayPal it, or I'll get Hillary to bring you a crisp £50 note.
Okay.
It's just a little psychological test, all right?
I'm excited.
4 different colours here, pieces of card. Now, they've been terribly coloured in, but that's not what's important. What's important is the psychology behind these colours, okay? I'll take this nice and slowly. You can do this however you want. On the back of 3 of these pieces of card, I've written red crosses. That will signify the fact that you didn't win.
Okay.
On the back of one of them, I've written £50, circled it. If you choose the correct card, I'll give you 3 goes. If you choose the £50, it's yours, I promise you. But I can tell you now, you're not going to win it. The psychology behind these colours is too great. You are going to drive yourself crazy trying to figure out which one of these you want. Now, before you make a decision, just looking at that right now as an option, that red card is like a beacon. It's calling you. It's right there. Subconsciously, it's too obvious for you. All right?
Okay.
Now, the green card, it's green. The blue card at the other end, the blue card's good. Blue's a nice positive colour. It's like, I can see you've got the sky up there. It's a nice colour. It feels positive, feels genuine, feels trustworthy. Okay. Now the black card here, and I noticed someone else said go black. I'm wearing black. You're wearing black.
Yep.
It's almost like it's not there. And you probably thinking to yourself, why that colour? Why choose a colour that no one can really see? Subconsciously, again, this is going to pique your interest. Now, before you decide, I've talked about all of these colours, but the one that I spoke about the least was green. And I can tell you, the last 6 times that I've played this, I've written £50 on the back of the green card. I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's there now. It might be. Who knows? Russ?
Do you know what? I was doing so well until you started talking. Now, come on, everybody.
Yeah, there'll be someone. There'll be someone there.
Come on, Asa Don Brown, you great psychiatrist in America. Come on, Asa.
I'll show you them again. We've got blue.
Yeah.
Black. There it is, a bit closer so you can see.
Yeah. Green.
And red. Okay, there they are. Coloured in horribly, but you get the idea. You're going to choose your first one in a second, Russ. It's a free and fair choice.
Blue.
You're going to go with blue?
Blue.
It's hiding a little bit at the back there.
It is there, but blue.
But you've got 3 goes, so you're comfortable with blue?
I got 3 goes. God, I'm nervous. Blue. Come on.
You're going to go with blue. Okay.
Yes,
I can tell you, you knew you were going to lose on the first one. It doesn't matter. There's the 3 crosses. It's not blue. All right. So the question is, do you want me to mix them up or keep them in that
I
order?
don't care. I would do whatever suits you.
You sure?
All right. My stomach's knotted up. This is
It should be. It should be, because you're not going to win. So in a way, it's better to just relax and let it happen.
I'm going to win.
Now, again, the black card is almost disappearing. The red card's calling you. But some strange reason, that green one is really just zinging out at you. The one that's been on there for the last 6 times. Could it be a 7th time, Russ? Your go, number 2. Which colour?
Red.
Going to go with the red?
Yep.
It's not red. Oh. But it's a good thing. It's a good thing that it's not red, because the red, that's the one that everyone's looking at thinking it's red, 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 but it's gone. So it's out of the way. Okay. So now we just have...
Oh, whoa.
You see, it's too much. We've got the green, the one that's been on 6 times in a row, or the black that's sort of hidden on our tops, almost difficult to see. One of them's got £50, the other one's got red crosses. I'll ask you for your final answer. I can swap them around if you want, doesn't matter. Whatever you say
One's
next.
too obvious, and
That's
one
it.
is my favourite colour, as everybody who knows me knows. And my mum would never wear green. She was superstitious. Black.
You're going to go with the black?
I'm going with black.
What did I say to you? The last 6 times, it's been green.
No way.
7 times in a row, no one ever chooses green. I never lose £50. But thank you for playing.
You're the worst, lousiest, stinkiest guest I've ever had. You're rotten, and I don't like you. Matt Daniel Baker.
Here we go.
Again, my mind is blown. And then we'll be back on Wednesday. You've been bloody marvellous. Go and see his show. Go onto his website at www.mattdanielbaker.com. Not too tricky. If I can remember it, you can remember it. I'll be back on Friday with the gang. Until then, try and stay out of trouble. Bye, everybody. 5 of clubs.
Oh, wait. I've got it.
Oh, what?
What did you say?
5 of clubs. Right. Shut up. God damn.
There it is.
I just yelled out a random card. For God's sake.
It's weird. I can't get it out. My camera's back to front. How am I going to... There it is. There it is. There it is. Right, get it.
But I just yelled out a random card, for God's sake.
There it is.
Okay. Now imagine 90 minutes of that show.
Well
Ladies
done.
and gentlemen, this is the Midday Show. I'm Russ Kane. Here's Matt Daniel Baker. Have a great day.